Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Zoe and I'm very excited you're here. So in today's video, we are doing a home decor thrift haul and I am taking y'all thrifting with me and one of my best friends, Camille, and I'm super excited to bring you guys along, show you what we got. Before I jump in, it would mean the world to me if you would consider subscribing to my channel. It truly means the world, and please consider giving this video a like if you enjoy it. Now, without further ado, let's jump into the thrift trip. The first store that Camille and I went to is called Mount Sinai, and it's a resale shop. There's also a hospital associated with Mount Sinai here in Chicago. So we decided to begin our thrift trip here. I love this thrift store. It's honestly got kind of the coolest collection of furniture and decor pieces. I always find interesting furniture that I love. Right off the bat, I found this rug. It's from New Loom. I am not super familiar with the company, but I've seen advertisements for them here and there. And it was the exact style that I'm planning for my living room, which makeover coming soon, very excited. So I was immediately in love with it, but I had to kind of take some time and think about it. Honestly, if you're looking for any sort of furniture or like vintage finds, I highly recommend checking this place out if you're in Chicago. It's definitely one of my favorites. It's a little hard to get to sometimes because the parking lot is really small. Per Chicago, everything is really small, and the store itself is pretty crammed, but I've noticed they tend to have like fairly decent pricing. Some pieces can be a little expensive, but it's because they do have a lot of vintage pieces as well. So if you're looking for something more unique, I definitely recommend this place. At this first shop, I didn't pick anything up, but Camille found a cute little watering pitcher and another pot for one of their plants. Then we ended up heading to the Brown Elephant. There are a couple locations here in Chicago, I think 3 to be exact. The location that we went to had a little bit more of an even mix of decor and clothing, but it was still a relatively small shop. And we did wind up finding quite a few really cute ceramics. I found that Brown Elephant can be a little bit of a hit and miss for decor, but I actually ended up finding a couple of pieces. The first piece that I ended up getting is this like decorative bowl, which honestly I saw it on the shelf and I immediately fell in love with it. I love the detail on the bottom and like this little base, and the inside is really pretty too. I honestly think that this was probably a handmade item that was a local artist's in a local artist shop. It actually had a teeny sticker on the bottom that said number 30. And I've seen a lot of artist shops that do that when they're doing pricing. You pick it up and it's number 30. So I have a feeling that is what this was from. And for a handmade, potentially like artist made piece, this was only $8. That might seem like a lot, especially for such a small piece, but you can really tell just like based on the beauty of it and like the texture of it that it's definitely handmade. And to me, that has extreme value. So I just loved it too much. I had to get it. This is the next piece that I picked up. It's this really funky, textured and geometric tissue holder or tissue like cover. I've never been a big fan of these. I've always thought they were kind of weird looking sometimes or just unnecessary. But now that I'm really into home design and decor, and this is kind of the aesthetic that I'm leaning towards for parts of my house, I saw this and I couldn't refuse, especially because the tissues that I currently have will fit in this, and the brand of tissues that Ethan and I like come in this shape. So I thought, you know what, it's gonna be a piece that I can actually use and make it a little bit more decorative for my home. So I went ahead and picked it up. This was $5. The last piece I picked up at Brown Elephant was this travel mug. I have been using a travel mug that Ethan got probably his sophomore year of high school, and it was from like a local grocery store near where he used to live. So it was time for an upgrade, and I saw this at the thrift store, and it has these beautiful flowers all over it, and it's metal. It also was so clean, like the seal is unstained. So I don't think it had ever been used before, especially because there are absolutely no scratches on the surface of this at all. It also still had the sticker on the bottom from the original store, not the price though. And honestly, I just love it. I think it just brings me so much joy to look at this. And y'all know I'm an avid coffee drinker, love coffee, but I also feel like this could be used for water or any other beverage. So I'm very, very excited about it. And it's metal. So that's a big win. Anytime we can eliminate a little bit of plastic, it makes me super happy. So despite the lid. And this was $2. After we left the first Brown Elephant store, we actually decided to head to one of their secondary locations, which was actually their big store. If you're familiar with Chicago, their biggest location, I believe, is in Andersonville. So we decided to head up there. Now, when we got there, I had never actually been to this place before, and they had a lot of clothing. If you are in the market for clothes and you don't want to go to like those more chain locations, I definitely recommend checking out Brown Elephant, especially their Andersonville location, because they had honestly a huge room, like almost like warehouse sized room full of just clothing. I didn't really dig through any of it because, again, I was looking for home decor, but it's definitely there. And Camille and I definitely walked through to get to the furniture section, which is behind that, but there was nothing I couldn't live without. After perusing that section, we did go into the more decor-centered area, and it was much smaller. It was probably a room about the size of my bedroom, not very big at all. But they did have a couple more unique pieces. They also had I think 5 or 6 rolls of peel and stick wallpaper, which I thought was really cool if you were looking to do like a DIY in the DIY space. Very cool. Definitely considered picking it up, but it just wasn't the pattern I was interested in. And then I found this towel holder. So I have been planning our bathroom makeover as well, and I'm thinking I want to do a mix of matte black hardware and silver hardware. And one of the things I've been really wanting is to replace the towel bar with something that can sit a little closer to the sink. So this towel holder was such a find, and it also has the mounting plate as well as the screws, like the hardware in it already, which a lot of the time I find when you find like home decor hardware situations, they don't always have all the attachment hardware or all the additional pieces that you need to put them up. So this was honestly a huge win to find this and have it have the mounting plate and screws. So I definitely picked it up. It was priced at $10, which at first I felt was a little expensive, but then I looked at the bottom, and the bottom had a sticker from the original retailer retailing for $27. So that's over half off, which honestly, huge steal, and I'm gonna need to buy one anyways, so I would much rather get it secondhand. So this was my only purchase at the second Brown Elephant, but I was extremely happy to find it and was not expecting to at all.
There's stuff in my face! Food break!
After we left the second Brown Elephant, we actually ended up going back to Mount Sinai, and that was because Ethan had messaged me basically saying, yep, I'm down to try the rug. If you think it's gonna work, then I trust you. So we went back and picked up the rug.
Camille! Thanks, Camille!
The rug ended up retailing at Mount Sinai for $65, and when I looked up on New Loom's website, this rug for the same size, it's a 5x8, retailed for $219, and that's before shipping. So definitely a win, definitely a steal. I also did completely unroll this rug in the shop to make sure it wasn't stained anywhere, or have any like obvious issues like bugs or things like that. So I definitely checked it out before I purchased it, and when I brought it home, I definitely gave it a very deep clean. But I was really excited because this is the exact style I had been looking for our living room. After our escapade back to Mount Sinai, we ended up heading to Goodwill, and the shop was super busy. I think up until that point we had been really lucky to avoid huge crowds. That can get kind of difficult in large cities, especially on the weekends, which is when we went. But this was the first shop that there was actually a lot of people in the shop, and we were both starting to feel very overwhelmed and anxious. So we made it a very short trip, but I did find a couple of good pieces, and so did Camille. This was the first piece that we found. Camille actually found this for me, and I had been saying that I needed a vase because Ethan bought me flowers for Valentine's Day, and I did not own a vase to put them in, which I thought was a huge detriment. I couldn't believe I didn't have one. So I picked up this vase, and why I love it is because it's a little bit more of like a modern look to it, like modern design, while still being colored glass. I have a lot of colored glass vases in my house, or bud vases, if you will, and so this kind of fits into that mold. I have a pink one, I have a blue one, and now I have a green one. So I was very excited to find this, and this is one I could actually put a whole bouquet in. And I'm very excited about it. And this vase cost me $2.99, or basically $3. The next pieces I found at Goodwill were these coasters. These are like Carrara marble coasters. They're extremely heavy. I have a feeling they're real. If not Carrara, they might be travertine. I'll have to double check, but it definitely looks like Carrara marble. If you're not familiar, that's what this gray veining usually is. But I'll do some more research and I'll pop it in the video if I can. But it definitely looks a lot like one of those two stones, and they're definitely heavy enough to be that. Ethan and I have needed new coasters for quite some time. Not new, we've needed more coasters. We tend to host a lot, so having just extra coasters on hand is really helpful. I found 3 of these. I would have preferred a set of 4, but honestly I liked them so much I decided I didn't really care, because most often than not, who's actually looking to see how many coasters you have of a certain kind? Pretty much no one. So I love these, and they're definitely gonna get a lot of use. I bought 3 of these at $1.99 a piece. I do think that was a little bit of a steep price. Even though that these are real stone, I saw that one of them had the sticker from the original retailer on the back, and it was priced at $5.99. I would have to assume, and I could be wrong about this, but the retailer it was from usually sells coasters in sets. So if it was labeled as $5.99, it most likely was a set of 4 for $5.99, in which case I ended up paying more for these, for 3 of them, than I would have if I had bought them at the original retailer for a set of 4. So that was a little bit unfortunate, but honestly it's worth it to me just because I prefer to buy secondhand whenever I can. But this was one of those odd circumstances where it really didn't pay off to get these secondhand. After purchasing those items at Goodwill, we decided to call it quits for our thrift trip for that day, and I headed home to clean all of the items. It actually ended up being a couple days before I was able to get to this, but I gave all of these pieces a good hand washing and peeled all the stickers off of them. I also ended up using a mixture of baking soda and olive oil to get the residue of the stickers off of these pieces. If you're curious, this is a 2-to-3 ratio of just normal baking soda, and I have vegetable oil, and it works like a charm to get like goo off of products. Sounds weird. Anyways, after I got all of the sticker residue off, I actually ended up giving these a second wash off camera just because I really wanted to make sure they were super clean after coming from the thrift store. The rug ended up being a whole other fiasco to clean. So the first thing that we did was lay it out on the ground and vacuum it. Ethan ended up doing this for me, and he ended up vacuuming it, I want to say like 3, maybe 4 times, because every time he would flip up the rug, sand would come out of it. So whoever owned this rug before probably lived near one of the Chicago beaches, or they may have lived elsewhere and just brought the rug with them, but it had a lot of sand in it. So we ended up vacuuming this several times.
Hey there, Ethan checking in. So as you just saw, I rolled out the new rug that Zoe found today, and I did a thorough pass with the vacuum, and when I rolled it up, I know, good boy, there was some dust, like sand, on the ground, and there's quite a bit of it under the entire thing. So I put Mr. Dexter in his crate so he wouldn't lick up whatever it is, and now I think I'm going to try and vacuum the back of it a few times, give that a thorough pass, then vacuum the front again. If that doesn't work, if there's still white stuff coming out of it, we're gonna have to take it to like a professional rug cleaner. Hopefully I can just get all this out of it, you know, hang it up on the ceiling and beat it with a stick. Not ideal, but...
After we vacuumed this a couple times, I borrowed a hair removal tool from Camille, and I used that all over the rug. This did take me a while, probably like 15 minutes to do this, and I wouldn't normally, but because it came from a thrift store, I really wanted to make sure I was getting all of the extra hair out of this, because even when you vacuum, if hairs are trapped in it, they sometimes don't come out very well. So I went over it with this pet hair removal tool, and the amount of loose fibers that pulled up from this rug and probably hair was insane. The last thing that I did for this rug was I sprayed it with a mix of vinegar and water, and this was just to help neutralize any odors. I didn't notice any odors coming off of this rug. This was more of a precaution, just because I wanted to make sure we didn't end up, I don't know, smelling smoke or other pets or anything like that. This I use as a glass cleaner, and it's a mixture of like half vinegar, half water. So if you need a good neutralizing agent or a glass cleaner, I would recommend this. And now with all of the pieces clean, it is a last time to show you them styled in my home. Overall, I ended up spending $108.66. $71 of this was both the rug and the tax from the rug. So if you take that out, I ended up spending $37 overall on this trip. I was super happy with that. I was kind of surprised adding up the numbers, but then I remembered I bought a, $60 rug that would normally be $200. So I'm extremely happy with this thrift haul. You'll have to let me know down below what your favorite pieces that I picked up and what your favorite item to shop secondhand for is. I love thrifting, so if you guys also enjoy thrifting, please let me know, and we will definitely be doing more of these because I have more places in my home that need styling. So if you enjoyed this, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe. It's one of the best ways you can support our little community and its growth. It means so much to me. And if you enjoyed this, please like this video and leave me a comment down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified every time I upload a new video. With that, friends, that is everything. Bye.